I wanted to make a video about committed to things because that's what's on the mind at the moment. So I've been having difficulty trying to get things done. There'd be things, a whole load of things that I'd set to do and I just wouldn't do them. And I'm trying to figure out why. This is something that I've been working on and that I've made progress with on and off, and I'm trying to further understand what does and doesn't work, and further understand what's going on. In my mind, I'm trying to come up with a reason why. I think that's more than sound, so I'll do it. I want to be able to do this so that I have more control over myself, maybe. I'm not even sure. I'd say with learning about personal training, for example, that would help me do my job better. But maybe I'd want to learn more if I were actually doing the job, because then it'd definitely be useful rather than taking the proactive approach. That way, even though in theory, in my mind, the proactive approach would be helpful, but it would be more helpful than just doing it when I've got the job, because I would have set up how to learn and I would know what I'm talking about before I've started working. Maybe I don't see it as useful because I'm not yet doing the job. I don't know. In my mind, I said I don't know and I don't care. That's how I finished it off. But it's not true. But perhaps that's how I think deep down. I wanted to translate what worked with getting these steps in and successfully doing 10k steps a day to doing things like that. And maybe with like what I watch on YouTube with documentaries, that and getting 10k steps in have something in common. They both are things I'd want to do. I want to get my steps in to feel sane and to feel 100% mentally. And I'd want to watch those documentaries because I just have a genuine interest in them, and it's like once the documentary is done, I'm like, that's it, because I was so engaged. It was just like time flew. It was almost like it happened so quickly. And throughout the documentary, actually, just like how I would check my watch, I would every now and then just tap on the screen to see how far through I would have gotten through the documentaries of these people and their dark lives. Documentaries about crime and serial killers. I stumbled across it on the feed and I've been really interested. The word that came to mind was hooked ever since. Maybe I am, because I've been watching them until like 6:30 in the morning. Being on the screens until 6:30 to 8 in the morning is something I had already been doing. But I've now been on the screens to watch those documentaries. My eyes are twitching, my left eye is twitching, so it definitely can't be healthy for me. And I can't say I've ever thought it has been. as in staying up for so long, and getting up at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. As Healthy Gamer GG put it, it's a degenerate sleeping cycle. Personally, I wouldn't put negative connotations on it, even though I without a doubt think that it's showing to have a negative impact on my life, the way how I'm sleeping. I mean, my eyes twitching, which is a sign of stress. It, in my opinion, just is my sleep routine, and it's probably it probably isn't having as much of a clear effect on my body as it would if I was, say, in my 40s onward. Because of my youth, I probably can handle it easier than if I were to go through this later on in life. Because it just get more difficult to handle stuff, more difficult to exist. Diaphragm muscles weaken, bone density decreases, etc. So I'd imagine that the body definitely wouldn't be as forgiving if you were to stay up all night compared to me doing that in my early 20s, as I'm now 21. This is the age that I know older people would say their body doesn't function like this anymore. I don't know why it's this age in particular they say that. And in fact, I'm going off on a tangent now, but it's what's on the mind. In fact, I wanted to seem more like them, and through building muscle, to look more muscular, or by actually being more muscular. Have bigger arms, for example, to look like a man and to not have a boyish figure. But although I definitely still want to take care of my health, in my opinion, I don't think I should have to rush to try and look like a man and try and be a man, because boys are filled with life and some men aren't, because of how long they've lived and what their biological age is. It just doesn't sustain life as effectively as someone my age would, on the premise that they haven't destroyed themselves, or they don't have hereditary conditions that would make them die early through terminal cancer, for example. I don't need to rush to try and look like a man, to try and be a man. I wanted to be one because I wanted to keep on going down this route, partially for that reason in terms of looks. Because I have thought, even recently, that I definitely would get treated differently for the better and with more respect. That was important to me because of the relationship I have with my dad in particular. If I were to be big, maybe he wouldn't go out of his way to try and approach me in a hostile way when I've said something that he's disliked, or something like that. That I don't think has anything to do with my sleep routine, but yeah, perhaps a part of why I've been going down this journey is to protect myself. And now that I think about it further, yeah, I'm probably right. Because down this journey, I've wanted to learn how to fight so that I can, if I needed to, could at least put up a fight against anyone who could be a threat to my safety. Not saying my dad would be, but just anyone in particular, really. And I'd use that hostility I've received from him over the years as a reason to do that, as one out of many. I wonder why that's come up in a video in which I wanted to talk about commitments. I don't know, but maybe in retrospect I'll be able to see it more clearly. There was a comment on a YouTube video, in fact. I don't know where it was. I don't know where it's from. I don't remember, but it was this. Something along the lines of, life can only be understood backwards, but we can only live it forwards. Something like that. And I understood that immediately. I understood that they were talking about hindsight and understanding why they did what they did in their lives when reviewing it, but they can only go and move forward. I understood that. I wouldn't have put it into that words, but that was what they were talking about, basically, the idea of hindsight. Maybe I can go down this topic and see how that works. See if that gets me anywhere constructive, because I'm not sure I've spoken about hindsight. The first thing that comes to mind, in fact, is about self-improvement channels and the fear of death that they'd instill onto people through saying, you should do the things you say you want to do because one day you're going to die. I wonder if that could be a part of where the fear of death came from, outside of religious belief, seeing as I've been raised in a Muslim household and this idea of heaven and hell. Maybe. I don't know. But in fact, actually, that does go back to my sleep routine, which is something I do want to work on. Because when I'm off the screens, I'd have to deal with such thoughts as of when they'd come. I might have a lot of unresolved issues in the mind, because I'd be trying to undo things that I've done in the past which I regret. And I haven't been willing to let them go. I definitely haven't treated people in a fair way sometimes, and there's one thing in particular which I've spoken about on this channel, in fact, that I did, but even though it was without malice intent, that's how the person understood it, and I really wanted to apologize to them, but I've never seen them to be able to do that. There are plenty of unresolved issues in the mind, and it goes back. A few seconds ago I was thinking of this as I've just been speaking about it. It goes back to, or my mind goes back to, this idea of being able to let go of the past. And as I say that now, I also think about the blurb from Transform Your Body, Transform Your Life. Are you ready to let go of the past, it says. And maybe I'm not, but perhaps I'd be a lot better off if I did, mentally. Perhaps I would be. Because there are, like those situations I'm thinking of at the moment, events in which I've done and or said things that I regret, which I just can't undo, but I'd still think of them anyway, and I wouldn't be willing to let them go. I haven't taught myself, maybe this is it. I haven't taught myself to let go throughout my life. And it comes back to the arguments I've had with my parents whilst I was growing up, in my adolescent years in particular, about certain things. I've allowed myself to be extremely unforgiving. And although I have tried in the past to forgive people about certain things, like one time someone who went to the skate park I used to go to approaching me in a hostile way, which I've spoken about before. I tried, but I did that out of fear. I said I'm sorry to him in my mind. I said that out loud whilst I was just in my bedroom out of fear, because I didn't want him to attack me. And maybe that's a background unresolved issue. But I went around that area yesterday and I was fine. I saw one of those people, not one of the people that came up to me and approached me, and not even the person in particular that I'm thinking of, that was the main reason why I got approached in a hostile way. But it was just the entire, any person, because of that situation, any person who I associated with going to the skate park was just, in my mind, could have been a threat to my safety, could have been a danger. Maybe that was it. I don't know. But yeah, maybe that was it. Maybe this is it. Maybe I could set up the hypothesis and say, the more I go out my way to work through unresolved issues I've got in my mind, and perhaps the more forgiving I'm willing to be, not only to myself but to other people as well, maybe I literally would be able to sleep easier at night. Maybe that's a part of it. I'm thinking of a diagram that Healthy Gamer GG put up in his most recent video that he made around about an hour ago or so. And it was about unforgiveness, being unforgiving or something like that. Maybe that's something that I should work on for the sake of my sleep and being able to live my life in a more ideal way. That, without a doubt, definitely could be something that I could work on. In family life, there's so many incidents that I could think of which I wouldn't want to forgive my family members for doing what they did. Recent situations which I just would not let go. And because of those situations, like my sister said, I just would not be willing to forgive, because there's so many incidents and things that have happened which I've just thought I've had enough of, and I don't want to be around that again, ever. So I just say that's it. That's that. I've had enough of that, and hence an unforgiving nature could have been bred. I don't know. But if there's any place where it could come from, it without a doubt would be one of the first places I look at. Yeah, family life. Maybe I'm right. Going back to the sleep stuff. Maybe if I go out of my way to be more forgiving to myself and learn how to let go of the past, maybe I literally would be able to sleep easier at night. And it's something that I could try. Sometimes with those past situations, although it's not as intense now, I'd shake physically. Not like an entire body shake, but more like a handshake. I'd just tense up and I'd clench my hand some way, if it's whether it be like this, or like a complete squeeze of the hand. I would think about certain things that I've done that I regret, that if I could go back I wouldn't do, and I would physically tense up. if I go out my way to be more forgiving and more willing to let go, maybe that would help. Maybe I'd be able to sleep easier at night. I remember one incident in particular where I said something that I got confronted about by someone else, which was really foul. And although at that point in time I didn't think it was, now that I go back in my mind and replay that situation, I definitely believe it was. I definitely believe that, without a doubt, that comment was extremely prejudiced and shouldn't have been said. And if something like that was said to me, I would not have, I would have felt extremely unhappy about it. And that is one thing I could probably work on. And although I have tried to move on from it in the past, every now and then they just come up, those sorts of things. Well, that memory in particular, and other things. Fear of death is the main one, though. I think I replaced someone saying I don't want to die in my mind from an interview of someone that was interviewing people who were involved in street life. I remember that boy saying that, and I replay that in my mind, thinking that that's what I'm thinking too. I don't want to. And why is it that the boy didn't say this, but in my mind I was thinking it. Why is it that I have to one day pass away and never be able to exist? That's one of the main thoughts that would be on my mind, that I just would make it difficult to sleep at night. Like really, really difficult. I'm thinking of going for a walk and getting a move on, so I think I'll do that. How many steps have I done? I've done 2,635 steps. And it's the evening is 6:15, and here I am. I've been here for quite a while, so I definitely would have got more steps in. I probably would be more than halfway if I'd stopped. I kind of feel comfortable in this chair, you know. Maybe not, never mind. Maybe not. But anyway, actually, in fact, doing things impulsively could have been a part of why I find it difficult to commit to things, because I wasn't even sure if I was going to commit to this, trying to do 10k steps today, because I wanted to sacrifice the 10k steps so that I could try and sort out my sleep routine. Now, Healthy Gamer GG, was saying that he in fact was sorting out his sleep routine, and he was saying that it'd be difficult for the first few days to be able to sleep when you set an alarm on. Actually, no, I'm ready to go, never mind. He said it would be difficult for the first 2 to 3 days to sleep because of changing the wake up time. And it seems like I'm seeing the same thing, in different forms. For example, with working out, I'd set a plan, like how I did with wanted to exercise every day for 90 days just to see how it'd go. I'd say I'd want to do that, but then I stopped. I just gave it up. I've forgotten why though. I didn't go out, but I tried following a plan that I made on my iPhone notes, and I didn't follow that because the gym closed. And as I'd woke up at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I was just thinking, I'm not doing it. I'm not ready to go, and it closed. So I just gave up. And as I was saying, with this commitment thing, I'd see it in different aspects of my life that I'd find it difficult to stick to things. Like, I'd start, but I just would not carry on. It's... What's going on in my mind? What I'm saying is, it's difficult. Maybe I think it's near enough impossible. I don't know. My heart actually feels heavy at the moment. I don't know why though. It's not like I've done it's not like I've done a whole load of exercise for my chest to feel that way, but maybe my chest feeling a bit sore or something, I don't know. But I've had that feeling for a while. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure if that's from me working out. It's it, to be fair, does feel like right at the edge of my shoulder, so I don't think I need to worry, because I think it could be like the edge of my chest, not my heart, not any heart issues. I like to imagine that at my age I don't have any, although I remember one case of a boy having a heart attack at 19. But anyway, that's not related to this whatsoever. I don't know what it is. I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people stick to things. It's like with this, in my mind I was saying it's a habit. It's something that you do over and over again. If I could so easily explain that, then why is it that I find it so difficult to do something that I could so easily explain without needing to think about it much? I don't understand. Why is it that I'd have that trouble? What is it with taking action that I'd find so difficult? And I think I've got an answer. I think it's because I don't want it enough with the personal training learning or going out my way to learn about chess or something. And although that could really help me with using my head and protect me from disease later on down the line from using my brain, like Alzheimer's, I'm thinking of. I've forgotten why, but I just think of Anna Kramnik video when I used to watch her videos, because her mum is of that age, it seems, where she could, but I absolutely don't think that she would, because she uses her head way too damn much. I mean, she's an Olympiad at chess. I don't think, if there's any way she's gonna go, it's not gonna be that. She uses her head too damn much. But anyway, I was thinking, with this commitment thing, it seems like it plays out in all aspects of my life, like with hobbies and things that I say I want to do. I've been able to want to do this 10k steps because it helps. I see a benefit. I see a benefit with doing it. I in return for doing 10k steps on a daily basis, I have seen an immediate positive impact on my life. In my mind, as I've said, I get to feel normal again, the same way how I felt in uni before I started feeling extremely paranoid on that after that day I got approached and my family was telling me to be careful because of a series of dreams that they had and that I also had as well, that was related to me being a victim of crime, both murder and robbery. I see the positive impacts, and I use that as a reason to keep going with these 10,000 steps. But if I were to want to do the personal training stuff, I don't think I would really see that all that much. I remember vividly liking the fact that I could, if I really tried, could learn all of the muscles in the body, for example. I could, but I just stopped. for some reason. I tried developing a structure to do all of that stuff, but I just didn't follow through. I really don't know why, because I liked the fact that I'd found a learning style that worked for me, that I could look at diagrams of muscles of the body and I could easily remember them. And although I could do this, I just did not stick to it. I don't know why, but anyway, I stopped. And maybe if I were to go out my way to enjoy doing the things that I say I want to do, maybe I would stick to them. If I saw an obvious, clear benefit for doing those stuffs, for doing these things, then maybe I would. But at the moment, doesn't seem like I am, because I'd much rather watch documentaries than do that sort of stuff, because I genuinely am interested in that. I think the main difference between how I'd go about watching the documentaries and how I would go out my way to try and learn about personal training stuff are completely different, and that's why one works and one doesn't. Like Healthy Gamer GG said, you can see a benefit to learning or doing things, especially when you don't have an expectation to those things. But when I try and learn about personal training stuff, I would set an expectation, because the typical thing to get things done is to set goals and to have an aim to go for, rather than just going at it aimlessly. But that's what has worked for me, basically going about it aimlessly, having no aim. Like that one time when I went to the gym and I was able to push 120 kilograms or so, or 100 kilograms on the sled, I didn't have an expectation. I didn't pressure myself to work. And when I hadn't set that expectation, things were just, it just happened. It just happened. And unlike any other usual gym session, people were actually coming up to me and not the other way around, asking, how are you moving such weight? I look at that, and I, even without asking for it, got advice on how to maintain form when pushing the sled, because I was pushing heavy weight, almost twice my body weight at the time, seeing as I weighed closer to 70 now than I did back then. I weigh about 82 kg now. I've put on quite a lot of weight. It's something that I wanted to do, but it's gone basically all to the belly. I might have got like a inch on the arm or so, but that's not much really. Anyway, the most I would have, I'm trying to find out how I can make learning that sort of stuff, or doing the hobbies I say I'd want to do, would work. The most I would do is to say I'd want to go to the gym, and that would be it. That would be that. Maybe I could do something similar to that with like the personal training learning or hobbies and stuff. Maybe what I could do is say I'd like to do that, but that's it. I don't, regardless of how little or how much I learn, I would just like to do that. Like I would just like to pick up the books and do something, enjoy something that I say I'd want to do. But I think I've got to see a benefit in it. I think I've got to see a benefit in it first, when doing it like 1 or 2 times, before I keep on going and maybe fully commit. That was what came to mind. maybe that's it. I really don't know. But in fact, before filming this session, I wanted to film much longer videos, 1 hour plus, like movie length videos, like how I used to. Now that I think about it, to help with what I've decided to call them commitment issues, even though I'm not talking about romantic relationships. I'm just talking about me being able to do the things I say I want to do. But that was the most accurately I could describe what I was thinking. Commitment issues. Because I say I have them, it makes sense that I carry out actions that represent that idea. Because it's something I genuinely believe because of my prior actions. And like Healthy Gamer GG said, when you do, I'm thinking of his video game, how I solved my video game addiction video. When you go on the screens, for example, one time, it's not just that one time. He said, when you do something like that, for example, it doesn't just end there, because you'd have more thoughts based on doing that activity again. And maybe the same goes with ways of thinking too. I lost my track of thought there slightly, but I've been able to bring it back. Because of my prior actions and my thoughts to my prior actions, and me not going out of my way to really correct it and stir the momentum the other way into a way of thinking I consider more ideal, perhaps that's a part of, that also is a part of how I've become the way I've become, and why I'm living my life the way I am at the moment, where I am going out of my way to take care of my health, but I'm nowhere near where I'd want to be with it. And if I keep on saying that, then it just won't end. It won't stop. Like that idea and this way of life where I never feel satisfied with my actions just don't stop. And a way that I could solve that and end that is to stop having expectations, to stop trying to get myself to lift a certain weight with when I'm exercising, for example, and to stop trying to get myself to do certain activities or whatever it may be. The way how I'm now thinking about how getting my 10k steps a day works. I know I've tried it before, 1, and 2, because of doing it before, I know how long it takes for me to do it. I know I have a tracker that helps me do that. And what else? I regularly check that tracker. The tracker's easy to check. I could literally just go on the watch, click it once, and then that's it. It's done. It really is as simple as that. If I made tracking other things that I'd claim I'd want to do, perhaps I'd stick to it more, and I would in fact do it, even though sometimes I say I'm not sure if I want to, because I'd be out for a while, like getting these 10k steps done. I didn't want to be out doing these steps until like 7 when it started to get dark. But I think in order to stick to this aim of doing 10k steps a day, because of when I've woken up and when I've decided to go out, that that might just have to be something I have to accept. Yeah, I definitely am not gonna get like 1.5 hour plus video out today because the phone's on 10%, but it is something that I can think about and can use to help with my what I've decided to call them commitment issues. I ended the clip there thinking that the batteries was really low, like 3% plus, but it's on low power mode and it's on 15%, so I definitely do have more than just a while to carry on talking. This is helping. I think this could be it. Making much longer videos might not be might not completely solve my problems or anything like that, but doing this and also writing down things could definitely help. This is very much, doing these steps is, in my opinion, very much time-based, because I have a very clear idea of how long it takes to do the 10k steps. Like, I'm not confused. I know exactly what I want to do. I know exactly how long it takes for me. But I don't have that same sort of clarity and structure, because I want to do it every day, with like the personal training learning. And I tell myself I would want to do it every day, but I just have not stuck to it. Now, if I go out my way to learn how to stick to certain things, that would help, I think. And I think if I keep on working towards improving my commitment and my ability to stick to things, everything else will become easier. Every other aspect, I would be going out of my way to master every other aspect of my life, and it'd be at least a lot easier to do, because I'd be able to commit to doing said things a lot over and over again, because I would be making the longer videos over and over again, and I'd be able to do them with ease. I enjoyed them. I enjoyed being able to look at the video on YouTube with this hour plus timestamp and just see that, yeah, it was me that made that. That's not a sort of thought I'd usually have, but I just enjoy looking at the timestamp, and I'd probably look at it for a long while, maybe a couple of minutes or something. I enjoy it, basically. It's like my gratification, you could call it, for doing what I've done, and seeing that this is a reason for me to want to further commit to making these videos again, because I like the longer length. I have for a while. I've been wanting to make movies, I called them. I got that. I copied and pasted what Jeff Logan said in my mind. He said that, so I thought it. Me being impressionable. But honestly, although I got that way of thinking from him, at least partially, I have lived that out. I have done it myself, and it's not just all talk. I have done it myself, and I have genuinely enjoyed looking at the timestamp on YouTube and seeing that that's long, and that if I wanted to, I could go back in and review it, which I have done with longer videos in the past. Even with longer exercise videos that aren't like 5 minutes long, I've gone back to review like pike push-up footage from the last gym session, I think, that I had, because it was a longer video and it wasn't just the 5 minutes. Hence, I wanted to look at it more for some reason. I don't know why, but I did. Now, oh no, it's fine. Now, I mean, here I am making this video. It's a long ramble, but I think it's well needed. This is, I think, help, therapy, maybe self-therapy. I'm not even sure, but I know that I feel, oh wait, 5,100 steps done. I know I feel more okay, more normal, more sane when I get my steps in. And maybe this is like, these longer videos are like the mental way of getting my steps in each day. I've got, what? See, because there's 4,900 steps left. That's around about 50 minutes. I'm not sure if I want to be out for that long. So I might not. But I could definitely go for it tomorrow. I held myself back because I remember my dad being in the shower, and it's just like, yeah, he definitely is not getting out. And I kept on checking. It's just, yeah, it's not happening. So I decided to just go out anyway, and at least I've got a lot of steps in. And I could say to myself, even now, if I do go back home before getting the 10k steps in, maybe I would not see that as progress, even though I have made progress, because it's not the expectation, it's not the 10k aim. But I feel more okay. I feel like I'm maintaining my mental state by doing this, and I've done enough today. I'm feeling hungry. I want to go to the toilet. I think it's time to pack it in and call it a day with this walk. I think because of the expectation I'd have, I would undermine what I have done. And maybe go back to longer videos, I could see this as mental therapy. That this is like, the steps help me feel more normal, and I could do that I could go with even further with that. On the premise I keep going with these longer videos like these, I feel okay now, like mentally. I feel all right now. This is it. This is the way, or the ways I want to go out of my way to maintain my mental state. Long walks and long talks. Even if it seems like rubbish to the next man, at least I'm sane and I'm not sick in the head. No, I feel okay now. So maybe these longer videos are for me, and allowing myself to ramble would mean I could become more mentally organized to do the things I say I want to do. Even when sometimes I wouldn't make it easy to do said things by waking up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. That's it. Maybe that's the reason I'll give myself to make the longer videos, so I could feel normal again, so I could feel more sane, use it as a place to organize my thoughts and basically organize myself, my way of life, make it more clear, cut out for myself, to be able to lead myself through this way of life and through this life that I'm only going to get to live once. Yeah. Oh no. Right. The phone said it's got a 10% warning, so I might just end it here. I'm feeling hungry too. I don't know. I'll give this video a close. I'll make this video end soon. I don't know what I'll talk about tomorrow though. How do you feel normal? How do you gain structure in your life and do the things you say you want to do without expecting yourself to do them? How does that work? How? I don't get that. How? What sense does that make? It works, but how? Why? I really don't know, but I want to find out. I want to be more conscious and more aware. That's the word I'm looking for. I want to be more aware of why the things that I do, why some things I do would work with whatever I'd want them to work with, and why some things wouldn't work. I want to be able to understand that. And maybe I will, just like how I've understood that going for long walks helps me maintain my mental state. Maybe I should talk about that tomorrow. Maybe not, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I do know this. Having some sort of plan will work, it will help. But how do I have a plan, maybe not completely fulfill it, but still be okay with that? How do I, for example, set some things that I say I'd want to do, and even if I had considered them important and I haven't done them, still be okay with that? How do I do that? Maybe letting go of the past is the answer, because I know in school, for example, I was slow with getting things done. Not mentally slow, but I'd be a slow worker, for example. And I remember my chemistry teacher saying that although I didn't have the best grades, I was the hardest worker. Maybe they saw things in me that I didn't, because I've been able to, within the space of less than 1.5 years, create what is it? I think 1,412 videos now. Some of them are just pictures, but a lot of the videos are of substance, although not all of them are. Maybe they saw that I had the potential to do the school equivalent of that way before I did. Maybe. But yeah, how can I set myself things to do? Maybe not do all of them, but still be okay with that. How can I accept that? How does that work? I'm not sure. Getting rid of the expectations, I think, would be the answer. But what if on one day I can't be bothered? What do I do then? I don't know. It might be questions I'll have to answer eventually to be able to do what I want to do on a regular basis, but more often than not, at least. But for now, I'm not sure. Perhaps that's a part of why I wouldn't stick to it, because every single day I'd want to do what I'd set myself, and I really wouldn't feel happy with myself, especially in school, if I hadn't done the things I wanted to do. I shame myself deeply for it. I remember sometimes I call myself a fucking idiot. Sometimes I'd even self-harm. I would sometimes scratch myself as a punishment for doing those things. I definitely never picked up a knife, but yeah, I would punish that behaviour if I had just actually, in fact, not only because of family life, but because of how I talk to myself. I put myself down, as I said, with the comments that I'd make to myself, and also with the harm that I do, to try and get myself to do the work so that I wouldn't punish myself like that.
It's basically to not reinforce not doing the schoolwork, basically to stay away from that behavior. I think that's why I would engage in self-harm, like scratching my leg, but it didn't work. It was just unnecessary pain I put myself through, honestly. And maybe I'm doing the mental equivalent of that by setting myself an expectation and not fulfilling it. Maybe not on purpose, but maybe that's what it is. I really don't know. In hindsight, I almost certainly would have figured it out, but for now, I'm not so sure. That said, though, I think I will leave that there and end on this note here. Like, thinking things through has really helped with me feeling okay. Doing the steps, the 10,000 steps, it's meant that I feel more normal, but I feel more normal after thinking things through. So I think I definitely will go out my way to keep on doing this, because it's definitely helping. I've seen an immediate benefit. Like today, even making this longer video and thinking things through, it seemed to mean that I, in return for doing that, get to feel okay. I get to feel more alright, more sane. Which, if I don't do, I might not get. Unfortunately, in order to live healthily and to be in an okay mental state, it's something I've got to work on constantly until the end of my days. So I definitely, it's definitely worth my while when I want to do it. So I'm going to keep on doing it. Every now and then I might fall off. That certainly is going to happen eventually. Something will happen, but I will stick to it more often than not, because it's a way, it's one way to allow myself to feel okay and to feel completely sane. I felt that way even without the long video, but and just doing the 10,000 steps, but I feel like completely normal now, like completely okay, even though my sleep routine is not at its best. That's fine. But anyway, I'll leave it at that so I can edit this video and put it out before going to sleep. So that's me done. Just be finito. Let me show the step count. Oh no. Wait. Come on. I'll show in a photo. But it's 10,424 steps recorded. So more than that, basically. But on that note, I'm done. And I'll go out my way to make a longer video tomorrow. I'll probably work out and then make this a sort of serious video on top of it as well, and do my 10k steps on top of that. But on that note, I'm done, and cheers to feeling more normal and get my mental health in check. Peace.